They call him the Stylebender.
Israel
Adesanya.
Israel Adesanya.
Israel Adesanya. The Last Stylebender. Born in Nigeria, Israel's family eventually found their way to New Zealand in search of a more stable home.
Being good at dancing probably helps you fight.
Hey, footwork, rhythm, timing.
Stylebender started out as a dancer.
Then eventually I found this movie called Ong Bak, and that was the movie with Tony Jaa.
Yeah, I remember that movie.
It made Muay Thai, I think, mainstream. Then I saw it, I was like, man, this is crazy. The fighting was different.
The sport was an instant fit for the Stylebender. In 2009, Adesanya began training at City Kickboxing.
The Chinese brought me over as a journeyman for their guys to beat up on, because obviously they want to promote their guys.
Uprooting himself and moving to China.
So they gave me a name, you know, for sure, Hei Long. That means the Black Dragon.
You did 81 fights in kickboxing?
I think I was 75-4 with 29 knockouts.
It's like I unlocked the cheat code in the game. And you just hit God mode.
The legend of the Last Stylebender was about to be born.
So I won King of the Ring 3 times. Twice at cruiserweight, and then heavyweight, which was 100 kg.
Fighters do not make a lot of money until they're at the top level.
Yeah.
28K fight.
Kickboxing honed Israel's most powerful MMA tool, his striking. His 75 wins forged a unique style.
That was in the first. That was a King of the Ring heavyweight tournament. So that was my second fight that night. And the guy, he was the favorite, I think, to win. Timber.
Yeah. He's gone down, and I don't know if he's going to be able to get up.
But it was the way he won his fights that made him a must-see attraction.
So you decide to make the jump to MMA.
My striking style was never really suited for the generic kickboxing style. So I always knew my style would be better suited for MMA.
And it's an MMA debut for experienced kickboxer Israel Adesanya up against the veteran in James Griffiths. Adesanya, truly an international class kickboxer, but it's a different world in the Shark Tank of MMA. And the crowd is pumped. Adesanya, he's nervous. That was a jumping knee. And he's on the top. He's finishing Griffith. Can he lock him up?
Like you've seen my highlights.
Oh, the head is bouncing off the canvas. It could be all over. Terry Hill coming in closely.
I can press forward, I knock people out with spectacular techniques.
Into the body, and it's called Adesanya MMA debut knockout. 2 minutes into the first round.
And when I saw him walk out, he was too intense. I can smell it's pheromones, you know, to start. I can smell it off him. I was like, he's not with it.
He's ready to rumble. Let's have a look what happens here.
But you are an elite striker. On the feet, you are a step ahead of everybody.
Every fight starts standing on the feet.
Israel does a brilliant sweep to Israel's game. He just wants to be striking with him. Wants to just create as much ground and pound and as much hit as possible. Oh, brilliant! These shots are raining through beautifully. He's opening for the end of the round. And Terry Hill stopped it. What a performance from Israel Adesanya. Wow!
He rattled off win after win.
Give it up for Israel, the Stylebender, Adesanya!
His opponent went to the ground immediately.
He goes voluntary to the ground again. Now we'll see what's going to happen. So that plan's not going to work by the look of things for goes again. Oh, well, he takes advantage of it this time, does Adesanya. Yeah, it didn't work the second time. He thought he might be able to buy himself a little bit of time. And Bell says, put a fork in me, I'm all done, and that's it. We'll call it a day.
Israel Adesanya. Doesn't seem to be able to find it. Head kick taken mostly on the glove. Big kick from Israel Adesanya. Pushing that kick over the top. That's it. It's been called off. Well, the Stylebender.
The Black Dragon. The ones who aren't clued up, who haven't done their research, check my resume. They like, oh, he's this guy from Kickboxing. He's just gonna be another guy. Round one.
Yeah.
Like a kickboxer who shows up in MMA and he's just gonna get taken down, strangled, whatnot.
It's interesting because Israel fights differently as a mixed martial arts fighter than he did as a kickboxer in terms of his stance selection, and he almost fights like he's in a karate movie sometimes.
Building up an undefeated record of 11-0.
2 minutes into the first round. Oh, and what an entertainer from the kickboxer.
I'm a giant fan of him.
Oh my God.
Everything about him. He could be a huge, huge superstar globally.
Oh, he will be. I think he will.
Fight move!
His strikes are so clean.
First of all, his striking is some of the most intricate, complex, and creative striking I've ever seen.
He beats his opponents into submission, quitting between rounds.
I think we got the future.
If you want to get at me yesterday. Because every day I'm getting better. Every fight exponentially, I'm getting better. Yeah, so with my striking, so I heard this guy, right? I don't rush, I chill. You just, if you have confidence, the utmost confidence in your ability, you take your time, you aim and fire.
You win.
And it's interesting to hear Adesanya's teammates and coaches talk about how much better he's getting.
Adesanya is getting better.
Here we have it, ladies and gentlemen, 5 by 5 minute rounds. Do not blink.
Oh, how quickly can he snap those kicks out?
And each fight, you can watch, I progress.
He's got to diversify his punches here. He's moving okay. Oh! Melbourne's got to move! He's got to move here!
Big crushing right.
Oh, the knee!
Melbourne should be able to make
it's over!
It's all over there.
The Stylebender, Israel Adesanya!
After winning the AFC middleweight title, he made a bold promise.
Let's realize I'm a world champion, finally. It's been a long time coming, you know, but within the next 2 or 3 years, we're gonna turn this A into a U, I promise. Watch me.
Training-wise, just grappling, getting my, it's the grappling aspect that I'm constantly getting better at.
Israel has to face multiple fighters, one after another, for 25 minutes.
It's gonna come down to who's got the biggest gas tank. It's gotta be you.
Israel is always in shape. His training is highly focused on endurance.
Are you always in training?
Most times, I stay in shape. I stay in shape, and for me, it's about learning. I remember I slid into Dana White's DMs in 2015 and I told him, like, look, we're ready.
he made his UFC debut.
So here is the Nigerian-born, New Zealand-based Israel Adesanya.
It's pretty rare you see a guy make his UFC debut with this kind of hype.
Right.
A lot of eyes on him. They expect great things from him.
So here is Israel Adesanya trying to keep it going.
Beautiful job with that defense.
He stopped Wilkinson in a dominant outing.
Not sure how much more Wilkinson can take. Adesanya to the knee, now back to the hands. The Last Stylebender does it 12-0.
The Last Stylebender, Adesanya.
I just want to say something to the UFC fighters, the personnel and personnel backstage, to the downwards and upwards. I see you guys creeping on my Instagram. Don't think I don't see you. You're watching me, and I've been watching you. But then when you run up on me, you act like you don't know me. Boy, you know who I am now!
Israel, the Last Stylebender, Adesanya.
UFC President Dana White in the building here tonight, looking on as Israel Adesanya makes his second UFC appearance.
I'm only seeing him get better. I mean, I remember the blueprint the day he came out and fought Vettori. Okay, great. You can take him down and keep him there. You can beat this guy. And a lot of people really believe him.
Oh!
Nobody's really made him uncomfortable yet. He's comfortable the whole time.
Fluid. Angles and fluid. Yeah, just the way he switches stances and sets you up and leaves traps. And
For the first time in Stylebender's MMA career, a fight would go the distance.
For the winner by split decision, Israel, the Last Stylebender, Adesanya.
Largely a coin flip. Leave it closed with Adesanya as a small favorite.
His experience as a kickboxer made him the best striker in MMA.
And a pace he's not comfortable with. High kick, spinning kick.
Precise shots that dealt extraordinary damage.
Frustrating fighter to go against because of his movement.
On his feet, he was in a class by himself.
Oh, big elbow on the spin.
By his following fight, which is now against Derek Brunson, not only did he not have to get up off the bottom, he never once got taken down.
The tension between the two was real.
I mean, before the fight, he's talking all this. You too skinny, bro. You too skinny, bro. I'm like, what is this, CrossFit?
Israel, the Last Stylebender, Adesanya.
Derek Brunson, number 6 in the world, taking on the 9th-ranked Israel Adesanya.
Where he kind of does a question mark kick with it. Wow.
Moved away, he ate a knee. He got hurt, got up, and I hit him with 3 uppercut and a 2. He fell down.
really oh, he stunned him. Oh! Look how he ducks under that punch. Bink.
Now the uppercut in the knee. Brunson is down.
He stopped him in the first round.
That's what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. That's technique. That's the Last Stylebender, folks.
The Last Stylebender appears here to stay. 15-0 now.
He had fought 4 times in his first year with the UFC.
I thought by the time I get here, Anderson would have retired. And he's still around. And that's like me fighting my idol.
In the UFC middleweight division.
Hey, how you doing? Next up, a battle against his idol.
Anderson, the Spider Silva!
Most of Adesanya's UFC competition has tried to take him down, Dom.
See, there's that question mark kick that I was talking about.
In what many saw as a changing of the guard. They were both striking wizards.
He's hurt. He's hurt there. That hurt him.
So it was fitting they basically ignored the fact that grappling existed. Staying on their feet, putting on a show for the fans.
I think a little slobber just got knocked out.
Body kick from Silva lands under the right elbow of Adesanya. Couple late left hands, and Silva just able to duck under that left kick. Silva with the guard completely lowered. Big left hand lands for Adesanya.
Silva was soundly defeated by the Last Stylebender.
Awesome match.
What a striking match turned in by Israel Adesanya and Anderson Silva. And so much respect from one man to another. But tonight belongs to those two men, Israel Adesanya and the soon-to-be UFC Hall of Famer Anderson Silva.
Adesanya has officially been selected the Fighter of the Year, which I would not disagree with.
With the champion injured, the interim title was up for grabs.
I'll be preparing for this guy for 5 months.
Adesanya would engage in one of the greatest title fights of all time.
In that type of stance.
Shootouts, man. The Kelvin Gastelum Stylebender fight was a shootout.
And Adesanya retreats.
Best style of fight for me I've ever watched.
It's not really about the records. It's not really about the stock. It's not even about the belt. It's just I just want to beat up the toughest guys.
So some adversity now for Kelvin Gastelum.
It's one of the best fights of all time. Has to be. It has to be.
A battle of wills.
Gastelum's fighting with a lot of pressure right now.
4th round, he caught me slipping with a head kick.
Oh, he goes high. Look at that.
That
I saw Adesanya get hit.
Heading into the 5th round, it was anyone's fight.
I looked at him, and I remember I call it Ese Diablo. He was looking at me, and he just had this like look, and he's just swinging his hands. And I said, "You're not gonna beat me. I'm prepared to die." And I meant that, man. I swear to God on my life, I meant that.
Nice handing work there from Adesanya.
That 5th round, like I found out who I was.
Over the top. I mean, this could be a 10-7 round, folks.
If I'm ready to die, I'm ready to kill. You have to be willing to give something up as well.
Stylebender found deep reserves of greatness.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my.
Delivering a flawless round. He secured the unanimous decision and was now a UFC World Champion.
One of the greatest title fights you will see as Israel Adesanya and Kelvin Gastelum go the 25-minute distance.
He would go on to win Fighter of the Year twice in a row.
In just 15 months, Wanganui's Israel Adesanya has nailed it. He's the world champ of a sensational, brutal mix of boxing, wrestling and martial arts.
Now a showdown with the undisputed champ, Robert Whittaker.
Well, Israel's belt is an interim title while he waits for Robert Whittaker, who's been out with illness, to be well enough.
It was the biggest live gate in UFC history.
You saw me when I walked up. I stomped the yard. Stomped the yard.
DC, I'm just not sure there is any point of comparison in all of professional sports than the intensity of a UFC championship.
In his biggest fight ever, the Last Stylebender delivered.
Boom, perfect timing.
Smashing his way to a 2nd round stoppage.
champion of the world, the Last Stylebender.
He was now the undisputed middleweight champion. Romero has a bully persona, but in his fight with Stylebender, he refused to engage with the champ.
He was literally standing there at the beginning of the fight, standing still. Izzy was trying to get him to engage, and he didn't want to engage. People are booing.
That is a massive body kick. Easily.
Oh!
Making for a lackluster and routine win for Israel. After a contentious pre-fight lead-up,
I will be waiting for Adesanya, the skinny claw Adesanya.
Obviously, you're not a massive fan of Paulo Costa's physique, it seems, but what
he looks good. He looks beefy, and he looks like a swimsuit model, doesn't he?
The bad blood between Costa and Israel was visible to all.
But this guy on the lead-up was just talking some shit, man, and like
you seem to really not like him.
Is there a reason you specifically wore an Akatsuki shirt out today?
I'm feeling dark for this fight. I'm feeling very Akatsuki.
But you know, the fight fan in us, Chael, looks at Costa like, yo, where was the fight in you after all the talk that you brought to Adesanya prior to this bout?
The kickboxing credentials and now 19-0 in his mixed martial arts.
The way he handled and he was a bully. I don't like bullies. The way he was coming at me, I didn't like that, and I felt like I had to become what I hate. I became the bully, and I f***ed him up.
Costa was the #1 contender.
Brilliant.
And seen as a real threat.
His legs were trashed.
Adesanya again rose to the challenge. Stopping him by whatever that is. At 20-0, the Last Stylebender is the most exciting and promising fighter in the game today.
Middleweight champion of the world, Israel, the Last Stylebender, Adesanya!
Fastest man in the world, baby.
I wasn't going to bring him up, but now you bring up the video game boss analogy. Does that mean the ultimate Ganon at the end of it's a guy called John Jones?
I wouldn't say ultimate, but he's definitely a boss on the game that I want to play against.
Nobody brings it home like Joe Vincent. Nobody. Make it so.